Well, hello again, and welcome to another episode of Weird News and Wacky History, a look behind the scenes of what's been happening throughout the years. I'm your host, Pastor Roland Moss, that old history dude. Say, let's chill out and talk to the trees today. The Romans were always out to subdue the neighboring tribes and peoples, whether they wanted to be or not. The Gauls were fierce clans who lived in the extreme north of Italy and Switzerland. Dressed in plaid trousers and a loose cloak, their foot soldiers were ferocious fighters but lacked the discipline of Roman foes. Or so it appeared. In 215 BC, during the Second Punic War, a 25,000-man force of Roman legionaries, commanded by consul-elect Lucius Postumius Albinus, were pursuing a far inferior army of a Gallic tribe known as the Boii. But to get to the Boii strongholds, the invaders had to get through a dense wood known as the Latana. Though undermanned, the Boii had more than enough force to fight for them. The crafty Gauls had secretly sawn through the trees on either side of the path but left them standing, needing only a gentle shove to topple them. The Boii systematically smashed the Romans in the woods. Those who escaped the toppling trees were overwhelmed by the Boii who surrounded the forest exits. Of the 25,000 legionnaires, only 10 escaped. 10. Commander Postumius' skull was gold-plated and used as a ritual goblet. This was truly unwise to mess with these Boii. There are straight and tall forests, and then there are decidedly crooked forests. Once upon a time in a crooked forest. Sounds like the start of a fairy tale, doesn't it? But there really is a crooked forest just outside of Gryfino in western Poland. Known in Polish as the Krzywoj Las, some 400 pine trees have a pronounced 90 degrees bend near their base. Growing northward along the ground anywhere from 3 to 9 feet, they then bend again to grow upright. The trees are perfectly normal in every other respect, with smooth bark and no gnarliness. Scientists are mystified. Some suggest abnormal gravity in this area of Poland, but then why aren't all the trees and bushes affected? Others propose immensely heavy snowfalls that bent these trees so that they grew crooked, but why some and not all of the trees in the neighborhood? The best suggestion so far is this. These trees, dating to the 1930s, were purposely manipulated to shape them, most likely for use in shipbuilding. This was a common practice in Poland at the time. Sadly, the town of Gryfino was destroyed in World War II. The population was hauled away. The land lay fallow for nearly 30 years. With all the original inhabitants dispersed or killed, we may never know the answer. Sometimes it's a challenge just hanging on to trees. Christmas trees are expensive. According to the National Christmas Tree Association, yes, that is a real organization, the average cost of a genuine juniper in the holidays is $75. A high-quality fake fir will set you back around $107. Not surprisingly, unscrupulous folks are making off with cut ornamental conifers in the middle of the night at an alarming rate from tree lots. More adventurous folks are grabbing saws, axes, and chainsaws and go harvesting their own. Denuding college campuses, farms, and even neighboring front yards of trees that took years to grow. Unprincipled behavior calls for unprecedented response. Enter just sensational. 99% pure red fox urine. Sprayed on trees in the chilly outdoors, it's odorless. However, once brought inside where it's warm, the aroma is enough to gag a maggot and proves almost impossible to get out of carpets, drapes, and bed linens. The University of Idaho, which has regularly had trees flitched each Yuletide season, is going one better. They mix in a healthy dose of skunk fragrance with the fox urine and a sticky base. Since beginning spraying their evergreens in 1990, tree theft has dropped off radically. Can't imagine why. Warning signs advise tree poachers not to try it. Be wise. Take the advice. And finally, have you dropped your favorite tree a note lately? Melbourne, Australia is justifiably proud of its wooded glens, parks, and groves. After all, Melbourne hosts over 17,000 municipally owned trees. In 2012, to help maintain the health of these sprawling woodlands and to give citizens a way to report any ailing or damaged trees, each was labeled with a number and given its own email address. And sure enough, emails did start to arrive at the Urban Forest Data Center. But it wasn't quite what the forestry people expected. In a response officials called an unintended but positive consequence, devoted users of Melbourne's parklands started sending fan mail, love poems, encouragement, and condolences to their favorite trees. One was a hesitant introduction. To the tree on the corner of Park Road and Alexandria Avenue and the little street that goes up on the side. I've always wondered about you. Another was a Dear Tree letter. Dear Tree number 1517937. I've fallen in love with tree 1583182. I honestly feel bad. Would be great if you could give me some advice. Regards, Tree Lover. Still another mourned, babe. I'm sorry you're so sick. Can I climb you one last time? Recently, some trees have even started writing back. Things are a bit odd in Melbourne. And that's about all the time we have for this episode of Weird News and Wacky History, a look behind the scenes of what's been happening throughout the years. I'm your host, Pastor Roland Moss, author, historian, and speaker, wishing that all of your history may be just a bit weird.